So the agenda for this today's webinar is student lifecycle management system. So let's see here. Let's first start with what is a student lifecycle management system. So it basically covers at least 6 items. So let me just cover the key items we are going to cover. What's a student lifecycle management? We'll go a little bit in depth on that. Then we will go in how do you implement that? What are the key risks? What are the timelines? How does EasyLib and EasyUMS help? So this is the agenda for this webinar today. So we have about total 11 people here. That's pretty good. So, all right. So let me get to the next slide. So what's the student life cycle system? The first one is it's a comprehensive framework actually. It's not like a one system only for admissions. It is not one system which will only handle the in-out management, not the one system which will only send the messages to the students for the admissions or the assignment system or the grading system, not like that. It's a comprehensive, it covers everything of a student life cycle. So here the focus is a student's life cycle. So when a student comes into the college, right, all the way going out, so that is what we want to cover in this. So I think there are a few more people joining in, so let me admit all of them. Okay, so all right. So it's a basically the comprehensive framework that we are talking about. Okay, then where does it start and where does it end? So in case of a college, right, when we say student life cycle, student's relationship with the college starts even before he joins in. So that is when you send a bulk mail to the people, or you put a advertisement in the newspaper, or you put a hoarding in a city over here saying that your college or university is offering admissions, right? So that is where it starts. Somebody looks at that advertisement. That is when the relationship with of that student with your college starts. So the software handles from that point onwards. Then it goes totally. We will cover what are the things that it covers in the next few slides, but it basically starts from campaigns, then admissions, evaluation, goes all the way till he becomes an alumni, right? And he is in touch with you over and over throughout his lifetime. So the journey starts the moment he saw your college advertisement in the city or your town, goes all the way throughout his lifetime. So that is the student life cycle management system that we are talking about. Entire journey. So that is the admissions to alumni we are talking. Then the next one is the key characteristics of one master system. So we are not talking about here, one portion for one function, another for another function, another for function. So we looked at these different things, right? So admissions, attendance, the examinations, timetable. For the end users, it may look like it's one system, but underlying it may be all different systems. So when it comes to student life cycle management systems, right, we are not talking about having 100 things in different places, but giving one picture to the end user. Okay, it is not just that. Instead, bringing everything under one umbrella is the characteristics of the student life cycle, integrated student life cycle management system. Okay, then has multiple interfaces. So what is that multiple interfaces I mean? Say, for example, in your master data, right, you have the Aadhaar data of the student, right? So now to validate whether that particular Aadhaar belongs to the student, you need to have interface with the UIDAI, right? You need to talk to that system to get whether the system is, the student is, let me admit everyone. Okay. So whether the student is has input the correct Aadhaar. Then you what about the collection of the money, right? So you need to interface with the UPI gateway, right? Beam UPI, Paytm, PhonePe, SBI gateway, multiple gateways. So that is the characteristic of a system which has interfaces with lot of systems. The next most important thing is the life of a student life cycle system can go for decades together. Right. Imagine this. Many of you who have joined this webinar, right, are using our EasyLib system for the libraries, right? So library system, many of you our customers for last 20 years. So when it comes to the student life cycle management system, right, it could be 20, 30, 50, or it could be a long time. So, so the reason why I'm specifically telling about this life is more than 20 years. It is not like I procure one system today, I use it for 3 months, 6 months. I don't like it. I'll change over to another system. No, no, no. It's not going to happen like that. Because once you get a system, you are going to live with that system for a few years or even decades. And so that is why it's important that when you get a system, you do enough groundwork to get the right system. So, okay, so that's the life of the system is 20 plus years. And as far as the cost is concerned, the over the years, right, the IT costs have been definitely increasing. Okay, earlier it was, we all used to write the things in a pen and paper. Even the admission register used to be in the pen and paper. Multiple notebooks were available. You see, it was a part of the management system. But now there is an investment on the computers, on the hardware, on the software, on the internet, on the connectivity, maintenance stuff, software, all of that. So worldwide average for the IT spend is about 3%. So when I say 3%, say for example, your college has got total outlay that includes the all the fees paid by the student, expense on everything, including the buildings and all that thing, or the grants that you receive from the government or from the other organizations, your salary cost, your books cost, your fees, whatever you collect. Suppose it goes to, let's say, 1 crore rupee, then you can be sure IT cost is going to be at least 3 lakhs. So if you happen to have a large college, right, and it's, let's say, about 10 crore rupees, so it's justifiable that you allocate about 30 lakh rupees on that, right? So usually, approximately, most of the organizations in the world, not necessarily in the education, they spend at least 3% of their outlay on the information technology. So I think this number is important because you know where you are spending, right? So if your income is about, let's say, the total expense is about, total earning is including all the things is about 1 crore rupee, and you are spending only 20,000, that's way too less. You are spending 20 lakh, 20 lakh out of the 1 crore, then probably on the higher side. So you need to make a thing. But one thing to remember, always spend on the IT has return multiple fold. Okay, so let's go into the deeper of the what are the functions of a student life cycle system. Okay, the first one where it starts is that, okay, master data. So the complete master data of the students, including the name, address, phone number, Aadhaar, the whatever is required, the phone number, the email, parents, information, the past academic history. This is the master system for all the student data, right? So many times when the student information system is spoken, right, people think, okay, this is something that we can be happy if we have the student master data. It just doesn't end that. Okay, it's much more than that. It has much more information, starting with the campaigns that you run, the admissions, taking the application forms, evaluating them, granting the admissions, collecting the right amount of the fee, sending the fee reminders, managing your finances, getting the correct dashboard of what's going on in your institution. Okay, managing your entire establishment in terms of what is there, how many rooms, inventory, your service desk, sales desk, what are the new projects that you are doing, the transport management, assets that you have got, printing the barcodes to be pasted onto each of the machines, ID card printing, whatever you name it. The complete administration is expected to be covered in the student life cycle management system over here. The next function is the academic functions. Here, the first part was the administrative part. The second one is assignment, sorry, the academic one that cover the things like, the classes starts, you enroll them into the right class, right grade. Then you enroll in the correct classes, courses, assignments you give, attendance you have. Then you manage the learning management system. Learning management system you have wherein when the students log in, they get, okay, this week I am going to learn this portion, this portion, this portion for 3 subjects. Okay, and this particular subject, and these are the 5 videos I'm going to see. These are the 2 assignments I'm going to read. Assignments I'm going to do. These are the 3 PDFs I need to write a case study on, or the different one, analyze for the case study, and so on. So complete learning management system is built in the student lifecycle management system. Then you have the auxiliary systems like, quiz management system. Then you have the syllabus, when the student logs in, he's able to get a clear picture of what he's expected to study over next 1 or 2 years period. Examination system is there, time is there, you name it, whatever is required for managing your the Managing your academics, right, is covered in the student life cycle management system. So note here, I'm using the word student life cycle. Here, the student is the core focus of your entire system here. Okay. All right. The next one. So here, all these three things, right, were internally focusing. You were managing with 4 or 5 people and all that thing. But now, when it comes to the next level, you interact with the students. You have conduct a lot of events that you conduct. You enroll the students into the events. Harsha, can you please confirm you are able to admit the participants? Try. Are you able to get the notification? Okay, so let me admit. All right. Okay, so you have got the events that you conduct. So you are able to get a clear track of who all is enrolled in event, who are the repeat attendees. Are you sending enough communication to them on what events are being conducted? Are you customizing those events? So basically, it's related to managing the relationship with the student. It's not always like a one-way communication. I tell what you study, and then I meet you in the exam. No, no, no. It's a continuous interaction that the system is expected to offer in the student life cycle system over here, right? So you conduct continuously the surveys. Even the government of India, right, National NIRF or the NAC, they also expect that you are indeed conducting the student satisfaction surveys. So the student satisfaction survey becomes a core component of your student life cycle system over here. Then you got the display boards to display what's going on in your college, be in touch with the students through different means and so on. Then you have got the alumni management. You know where your alumni are studying, right? And what profession they are in. How can they help in growing your own organizations? Are you coming up with a new projects with alumni's help? Can you get some donations from them? Or are you going and approaching the different people to get the funds for your organization? So lot of these things. Okay, so they are all part of the student relationship functions within the life cycle system over here. Of course, it can go further actually. Students clubs is one more thing. The subscriptions is another thing. You will enable the students form the groups and utilize the system for building more rapport among the students themselves. And then there's the placement management and so on. So this is the student relationship function. The next one is the library function. Those of you who are already using the library system of EasyLib, you are indeed familiar with this. So basically, it starts with homepage. Are you getting a customizable homepage? Are you in touch with the students, right? So then acquisition, cataloging, member management, circulation, digital library. So the digital library is an interesting thing here because if the student has to go here for books, another system for the digital library, and so on, it may not be the best method. So now the question is, let me enable other people over here. We will lobby. Okay, so we have about 20 people now, so that's good. So, okay, you have got multiple branches in the university, and is your library system connecting all of that, right? So the digital library, right, you have got so many PDF documents over here. It could be question papers, it could be the thesis, the students write up, your own annual book, your nice photographs, some of the videos that you have recorded, rare collection material, everything in the digital format, right? You should have the ability to give the access to those material your students, right? So then the in-out management talks about tracking how many people are visiting your library. Are you tracking your own publications, right? And why don't you come up with your own journal publication? Because the reason why Indian Institute of Science Bangalore or IIT Madras, these are at the top of the ranking in India, is because that one of the reason is that they publish a lot of material, right? So why don't you yourself come up with the journals? So EasyLib has a beautiful feature where this journal publication is allowed over here. So then the periodicals, report, union catalog to connect multiple libraries, course reserve, virtual connection, analyzing ability to analyze your library usage data, ability to customize your homepage and so on. So this is the library function. Of course, the library itself is so complex and then so big that many systems have one student lifecycle management and one library function. Here you can go with that, but make sure that the integration happens smooth over here. So that is why what we have done in EasyLib is that I'll go in the next slide how we transition from the library alone system to student lifecycle management system. But these are the functions of the library. Okay, and the last portion. So the critical piece of the system functions is the in the student lifecycle management, the system functions play a big role. So what is the API thing, right? API stands for application programming interface. No system, however big it is, it cannot do everything. So you need to talk to the other systems, both because you may not have that function or other person already has that information. So the example that we spoke about was the Aadhaar validation, right? So you need to have the APIs within your system, which will allow the Aadhaar to be validated using that API provided by Aadhaar. So you have an API, Aadhaar has an API, you call that Aadhaar system to using your API. So data quality improvement. You know, what is this? So as simple as the people in the different functions, process, right? They could be called with different names here, right? So one example is the first name. So you take one of our team member, Sri Harsha Patil, right? In some cases, he may be referred as Harsha Patil. Some places, it may be Sri Harsha P. In some cases, yes, Patil, right? So, which is correct? So now, once you identify which is the correct one, Sri Harsha Patel is the correct name, you need to go and make sure that in when you are importing the data and other places, it's always referred to as Sri Harsha Patel. So this is one of the examples of data quality improvement. So your student lifecycle system must have that particular data quality improvement module. Otherwise, it expects that you do the right thing to the 100%, but it does not help you fix the errors if at all there are errors over there, right? Okay, so then there is a batch processing. So batch processing is example. So when you go and keep the money in the bank, right? Every 6 months the interest is accumulated. That's an example where the software wakes up every 6 months, does the interest calculation, posts it, and then again becomes dormant. So that's an example of a batch processing. Or even birthday reminders, right? Every day the software can wake up, send a birthday message to all the students who have birthday that day, and encourage them to do better studies, and then become dormant. So the continuous communication with the students is what is expected in a life cycle system. So the database management system. So here it is, as you start using the application, the size of the database becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So one of the we are going to cover in the next portion, what are the risks associated with that? One of the risks that we see is that as the systems become big, right? It may not be developed to handle that kind of volume. So you need to put extra effort to maintain the data, right? So that kind of systems functions are expected to be in the life cycle system. And it's like using the software is like driving, right? One crude example I'm giving. And the road will indeed have all the, when there is a lot of rain, when there is a heavy vehicle coming over here, when some issue comes, there will be potholes developing. You need to fix those potholes. These are all common over here, right? When you are using the software on a day-to-day basis, right? Thousands of transactions are happening every day. There will be some issues that you face. So that's why this database maintenance is of utmost importance. The next one is multiple layer security module. This becomes more and more important. In the earlier times, you were having the system deployed on your machine and that's it. Now you have the system on 10 machines. Now 1,000 machines. Your all students access the data. Your staff accesses the data. Your management accesses the data. Everything is sitting in one server. So definitely there is a security expectations are much higher. So the lifecycle system need to make sure that it has a thorough security module in that. Right. So can it do automatically the server health check, whether everything is going or not? So that kind of system is another thing expected. SQL report talks about you having to get some reports where you have not requested earlier. On the fly, can you get the reports? So these are the kind of the function that is expected out of the lifecycle system. So in the last 5 slides, right, what we covered was what are the key components of student life cycle system. The first one was administrative functions. The second one was the academic functions. Third one was the student relationship. Fourth one was the knowledge management of the library system. The fifth one was the system functions. For a thorough system, you need to have all the 5 components within your student lifecycle management system. Okay. So now let me go to the implementation part. Okay. How do you implement this? So let me pause here. I'll have some water. In the meantime, you can read this. I'll let other people who are waiting to join. Okay. Okay. So we are in the slide. You want to see how do we implement student lifecycle management system, right? So primarily there are three distinct approaches actually. Okay. The first one, suppose you are a very large organization having about 1 lakh students, 20 colleges, your campus is about in 20 to 30 places, very big organization, right? And you see that, okay, you have very unique requirements, right? In that case, it probably the first one is the most often it is handled. It's taken up. What is it? You study what are your requirements. You develop all the requirement, get the software developed as per your requirements in an iterative way, right? Continuously you start here, then you add this and you add this. You build about 20, 30, even 100 people information technology team, right? So that is one method for you, wherein you are having the entire system developed in a bootstrapped way, right? You start small, grow like this. The major advantage of this is that you get the system exactly the way you want. But you know what is the disadvantage? It's very expensive. Without your knowledge, you would have spent crores of rupees, if not lakhs, right? Or lakhs of rupees, if not crores. How? Because every month you are doing small changes, and only you can use it. Nobody else can use it. And that whole system becomes one large system over a period of the time. Without your knowledge, you might have spent this much, but the functionality may be only this much. But it meets your requirement, but it's not scalable. So we'll go into the risk part next one. But that is the first method wherein you do the entire study, document what is required, and then you get the system developed. Right? So that is the first method to go with a student lifecycle system. The second method is you get different system for different functions. For example, admissions. You go with one system which is specializing only in the admissions part. Perfect. You get that system, you get the data, all the data sits in Excel. Then you have one or two people writing your fee management system. So those people develop only the portion for the fee management system. Then you partner with another one which will help you manage the examination. Then you have another systems for the timetable, another for the attendance, another for something else. Like this is the second approach. You have different systems for different functions. Okay. You know what is the advantage of this? Each of the function, right, could be very specialized in that area. So that is the major advantage of that. Here, one system only does that, that's pretty good. Another system only does this, that's pretty good. But the problem with the second approach is that your data is spread out about in 5 or 6 systems. And in some places, 20 to 30 systems. Today, this is the biggest problem that the entire um, industry is facing over here, because you have 100 systems and the data is all spread over. One system doesn't talk to another, and so on. But you know what is the advantage of this? You have the systems doing the silo parts, and then gradually it is grown. So that is the advantage of this. But the disadvantage, data is spread all over. You don't get the reports. And what is the third method? Go with one large system. So pretty much your expectation is this much, and the software does this much. If your expectation is this much and the software does this much, that's well and good. But many times your expectation is this much, software does nearly that much. 70, 80, 90% it does. So you identify one large system and go with that. Okay. So what is the advantage with that? Major advantage is that because you are using a proven product, right? Because those people have invested a lot of money to develop the system, which will more or less meet your requirement. So all your requirements are pretty much covered in the system. So you're safe. But you know what is the disadvantage is that here in the previous two, you are growing like this. In the third one, you have one system, you replace with another system. You need to be watchful of how you are migrating to that system. So that is one risk that you see over here. That is a disadvantage where a lot more careful evaluation is required to make sure that the implementation goes smooth over here. Okay. So first one was study and implement. Second part was different functions for the different system for the different function. Third one large system which will do pretty much everything. Okay. Now let's see what are the risks that we see in the different ones. Across all the three, what we see is the biggest risk that many times is related to the data migration. Right? What is data migration? Right? So many times you will have data in some format or the other. You might have the data in the paper form or in Microsoft Excel. Some 10 different Excel files will have the data. Getting all the data into either independent system or one large system or a homegrown system is always a challenge. That is the first risk that we see in many places over here. And this is also the reason why sometimes the system implementation also fails, because all your data doesn't come here. And the data that is supposed to come doesn't come. And the data that was not supposed to come sometimes sits with the default values. Right? So the first risk is the data migration. So in this, I'm only going to cover the risks over here, but the mitigation plans we'll have to talk separately. Okay. The second risk that you see in any of these implementation is the incompatible systems. What is the incompatible system, right? Suppose you have the database of all the students, right? You are moving to the new system. So take an example. If the new system has defined the telephone number as a number, and the another system has defined the telephone number as a text, and then you try to copy the data from here to here, half the time, if the phone number is my number 97422046224, it beautifully sits in the new system. What if I had put a dash over there? 97422 dash 04624. What should the new system do? Right? So there is an incompatibility within the systems. So this is the second risk that we see, especially when you go with this different system for different functions. The telephone example gave us a very simple one, but many times things go in much more complex way actually. Okay, that incompatibility is the key risk that we see here. The third one, many times, which is the cause of the failed implementations, is the inadequate user training. Right? So there is a tendency here saying that, okay, you have used, let's say one example of a Tally software, right? Many of you or your organizations might have used the Tally software. Tally is a beautiful accounting software. So you deploy the software and then you have the training. One person undergoes the Tally training, he starts using the system. And then you expect that every system is as robust or as sophisticated as is almost like a Tally. But now here, what happens is that Tally is a one specialized accounting software, right? Tally also has many more ERP, right? By the way, that's the newer version. But now when you take the accounting is one function. But here, what you are doing here, right? You have event management, you have attendance management, you have campaign management, you have so many functions here, right? And it's very, very, very big. And then you need to make sure that you divide your team appropriately and make sure that those people undergo the training on the right part. Many times, everybody is expected to do everything and they don't learn the whole thing. And when they face the difficulty, they stop using the system. So that is the biggest risk that we see, where an inadequate user training causes the system deployment to come to a standstill. Right? And the fourth part, spiraling costs. Especially that is true when you go with the first two systems. You start small, then you identify that, no, this is not sufficient. You need one more function. And the programmer says that, okay, I need 2 more months. Okay, fine. You invest that money. Then you identify, okay, something is missing. Then you identify something is missing. Before you realize, you might have spent months or even years together trying to enhance the system. Ultimately, you think that today you are here. You think, okay, once I go here, you will be good. By the time you reach here, your benchmark would have gone here. Then again, you try to go over here. Then again, you try to go over here. Continuously, it goes, right? So, constantly, the sparing cost is a risk that you see in any of the implementation. The fifth risk that you see is lack of thorough reporting. Because here, right, you have different systems, you have all spread out data. Then how do you get a good report? Right? To get a report, you need to read this, read this, read this, read this, and it combined with the incompatibility, you are having a challenge in getting the thorough report. That is the fifth risk. The sixth risk that we see is silo reporting. What do I mean by silo system, right? The silo system is you have developed based on what you wanted. Especially that is true with the first one. When you study and implement, you develop the system as per your requirement. And that works good as long your underlying system doesn't change. Underlying assumptions don't change. And the moment something else comes up, then all of a sudden it becomes very difficult. Take best example is Aadhaar, right? So 10 year back, 10 or 15 years back, right? None of the systems had Aadhaar field in that. So the software was developed without Aadhaar in place. Now Aadhaar is the primary thing. So now to make Aadhaar as the primary key or have it added in so many tables, right? You again need to put a lot of effort. And if the other system is expecting Aadhaar and you don't have Aadhaar, then you need to build another system to track that. So as a result, what happens is that you have one system which is totally independent, not talking to the other systems in the world, right? So that's the risk that you see in the, especially in the homegrown student life cycle system. The seventh is the long-term vision, right? So this is so important. That's why it is so important that you talk to the companies which have enough experience in that. It's sometimes the software may be as simple as get putting one or two people developing what you want. But are you keeping your long-term growth in mind? Right? So in the absence of that, you will end up with developing only that is what is required. Then when you want to change, then you have a huge repercussion. So these are the 7 risks that we will see here. There could be many more, but it's just a sample set of risks that I have covered. Okay. All right. So now, expected timeline. With all these challenges, with all these expectation, everything over here, the student relationship management library function, there's a system function, academic function, administrative function with these many expectations, these many risks. What is the expected timeline? In the current time with which the world is moving, you need to have your deployment completed in terms of days. Just a few days, maybe 10 days, maybe 20 days, not like 365 days, right? Within a few days, your deployment should be complete. The software should be up and running. Next portion is the data migration. Getting the existing data and putting it over here should complete in a matter of weeks. I have seen in some cases, the data migration goes for years together. That are months together. That is definitely not what is expected. You deploy the software today, in a couple of weeks, maybe 4 weeks, your entire data should come from old system to the new system so that within 1 month, you are fully up and running. The next one is user handholding, right? So that should continuously go on. Gone are the days when one person comes, gives you the training for 2 days, and then gone, you use the system. That's not going to happen. The system is quite big. The entire ERP, right, which runs thousands of students' operations, cannot be, understood by any of the users within 1 or 2 days training. So there is a continuous handholding required. The company, whichever you partner with, right, should be committed to give you the handholding as and when required for a few months, actually. Okay. And the last portion that I covered right in the very first slide, the life of a student life cycle system, you should plan it for at least 10 to 20 years. It's not like, you get it today and then if you don't like it, you change it tomorrow. It's not going to be the case, right? So it's going to be in years. So this is the timeline. Deployment in terms of the days, data migration in terms of weeks, user handholding for a few months, and software usage for years together. And last slide over here. How does EasyLab help? So as many of you know, we started, EasyLab was started about 20 years back. And then all along our focus has been the educational space. Because the market response, we focused on the one portion which is for the libraries. So now I'm very thankful to all of you. Nearly 620 colleges use our software today. More than 500 of them in Karnataka, another 100 in other than Karnataka, another 20 outside India. Right? So about 620 customers use it, the library portion. So now what we have done is over the years, working with those librarians, working with the principals, working with the staff, working with the non-academic customers we have got, will by looking at the tenders, the request for proposals, meeting with the customers, potential customers, we have enhanced our system to cover the entire requirement of a student life cycle management system. So whatever I covered in the first 5 slides, right, that could be our student master data, the administrative functions, the academic functions, the relationship functions, the library function, system functions. All of them are covered in our Easy UMS, Unified Management System by Easily. So I should tell you, even after this much, right, we still have thousands of enhancements. What it means is that system is constantly undergoing improvements based on the current changes, right? So that is always going to happen. If somebody says that my system does everything, it's probably the biggest lie, because there is no one system which can do everything. It can do a lot of things, but lot of things is not equal to everything. So but right now, let's say if we are here and our changes are here, we are constantly working on improvement. So you will continuously get more and more improved systems, and this is also an indication that we are actively working on the further improvements in the system and staying in this area of making sure that you get the best of the software. So that's the easy look part. Then second is, because we deal with a lot of customers and then master data, right, is already there, we do understand the seriousness, the risk that we covered, right? And many of these already seen in the library space. And then when we deploy this unified management system at a few places, we also see this risk. So over the years, working with the customers, we have definitely got a good understanding of the risk that we face. And then we have also developed the process. How do we reduce the risk of the space? That risk, right? How do we reduce that particular risk? And if at all it happens, how do we migrate? How do we manage it, right? So there is not like, 0 or 1. So we make sure that the risk of facing those risks is reduced. Okay, and if at all it happens, how do we make sure that it's corrected? So that is the second part. And the third part is that we try to make sure that your implementation is as smooth as possible. It should be very, very, very smooth. And a right system implementation should be, the users were using this as a system today, tomorrow they will use another system. They should not face even a 1 day of downtime, right? So that is the expectation that we have on ourselves, to make sure that the system that we provide you, make sure that your operations are as smooth as possible. So the ready system, right understanding of the environment, and smooth implementation are our key things that we offer to the customers. So now we call our new system as Easy UMS, Unified Management System, for the universities. If that, in fact, we have developed it at the university. At the same time, that means, university or the large institution means it covers the colleges. It could be the degree colleges, professional colleges like engineering, medical, dental, law, health sciences colleges, management colleges, all of the commerce colleges and so on, and it covers the school level. We made sure that the software is as thorough as possible. Unified management system for the educational system. Okay, so now this is the sample screen that I took over here. This is the ready-made system that we have got. It's very easy to log in. So once you want to try it out, right, you give us a call. We'll help you. We'll configure this entire system. As I said, initially we started as the library. So that's why you may be seeing the front page. By default, we may have it for the libraries. And it's because it's customizable, it can be modified such that, just remove this window, place it different places and so on. We will be able to configure it the way you want. And you get the complete system as per this over here. So whatever I explained, right? API management, asset management, that's tables, chairs, computers, your buses, whatever you have got, barcode, batch processing, communication with the students, conduct student surveys, right? So if you see over here, course reserve, that is the virtual system that you have got, the collections, attendance management, you name it, each of the places we have gone deeper over here. Just so simply the attendance management itself, there are about 20 screens over here, right? Many times attendance means, okay, somebody came, yes or no, tick mark, tick mark. It could be as simple as that. But when you try to implement it at a medical college or at the engineering college or at school level, the complexities will be different. So we have tried to develop the system which will meet most of the requirement of the different types of the colleges. So as you see here, right, there are about 50 modules that you see in the unified management system of EasyLib, right? So yeah, that's the thing that I wanted to cover today. I can go further down over here, especially the reporting part. So just a simple management system, right? So the reporting part, so we have the customizable reporting that you want. You can get the report the way you need it. You can build your own search criteria, extract what you want, and then import the data from different systems, export into multiple formats, including the Excel, HTML, and so on. So and especially when you need to share the data with the university, they may want in a one format, with AICT another format, the NAC could be another format that they want. So you have all these features in EasyLib to get the reports the way you need it, right? And the last portion that I want to talk about, the criticality, is this system functions, including this API, right? When we talk about the API, we are talking about dealing with multiple other applications. It could be as simple as your gate reader, right? So you are using the RFID based gate reader. How can the data from RFID reader come and sit in easily, right? So that's an API part. So we have built that. Then there is a database management, the data quality management is built in. So net, we have tried to build the system as exhaustive as possible so that you are totally satisfied in using this application. Okay. And the last slide I'm going to go, that is by the way, this is the brochure. This is the EasyLib brochure for the different function. This explains the library portion. Then there is a brochure for the campus ERP. I'm going to share this over here. There are a whole bunch of brochure that we have got. Um, Brochure. So this is, if you see here, right, this folder itself so big. So basically, it means that there are so many things over here that we have developed over the period here, right? So here, this is the campus ERP. This is whatever I explained in the last 1 hour, right? It is a nutshell in one simple page over here. And there is a, QR code over here. This QR code is also in the email that you received today. You just scan it. It's going to play the video of the functions of EasyLink. So those who wish, just call us anytime. My number, I'm going to show it here. That's one moment. It's in the Yeah, my number is here. vasumd@easylib.net is my email ID. 9742204624 is my phone number. And other contact is Sidhu. He's our sales manager. He has been with the company for more than 12 years. Many of you already know him. Either write to him, write to me, or call either of these numbers. And those of you who are our customers already, just simply talk to your person who is supporting the EasyLib application and just schedule a demo, and we'll be happy to come over there and give a demo or conduct one more in-person online demo. And if you'd like to see some of the videos of the software, very simple. You just simply click on easylib.net. It goes into our homepage where we have added a lot of the videos of the system over here. It's an integrated system for you. And if you see, these are the lot of modules that you see here. Simply click on it. You will either see that particular video or you see the brochure of that software, right? So yeah, that's about it. You can see here, right? Each of these goes pretty deep into that particular function. Okay. So that's about it. Thank you very much for joining the webinar. And let me go to the screen where I can see the attendees. And the forum is open for questions. Kindly post the questions. We'll be happy to answer over here. Thank you so much. I just type my number. and Sidhu. This is his phone number. Okay. Um, I wish I could unmute all of you, but I don't see a simple function in this. So if I can unmute, let me try. But otherwise, I don't see an option to unmute all of you. You probably need to unmute yourself or put the question in the chat so that we can read it. Yeah, I don't see the option in the webinar to unmute all of you at a time. Okay, Kavita and let's see, Anupama. I wish I could know the further details over here. I can't see, but I request all of you to register for the webinar if you have not already done. So that way we get to know, there's a simple link over here. This is the link you just put over here. Um, yeah, by the way, this is also part of the EasyLip screen. We manage we use our own system. So get the notification of who all has registered. And this is optimized for the mobile. So that's why you see a shrunk one. You should be able to open it in the mobile. A very simple screen that you see wherein you put your first name, last name, the member ID, if it's optional one. Email ID, phone number, which is the one that you are attending, and any remarks that you want. So you please put it and we'll be happy to get in touch with you. And I'm going to post this the link over here. If you have not, this is let me see if I can. Let me post it here. Yeah, there's a simple link. Okay, and we do intend to have this webinar series on a regular basis. So the usual timing for all the webinars is going to be 11 to 12 every day or every alternate day. We will keep sending the messages, and pretty much you can block your calendar to know more of this. And in the next few weeks, right, we are going to cover pretty much in depth on all these different modules. One we are going to cover on the inventory module, another one about the barcodes and ID cards, the communication one, student satisfaction, the dashboard, the project management, the admissions, attendance, student information staff, exams, timetable, transport, fees, placement, internship, the member club, the library management, and so on. So a lot of these we are going to cover in the webinar. So, all right, thank you so much for joining in. And those who have questions, please post them. We will stay on the call for a few more minutes until 12 o'clock, and then the webinar can be concluded. Thank you so much. I'm just muting and I'm staying on the screen for next 5 minutes. Thank you. I'm using this application. Just those of you want to stay, continue to see this. So if I want to see who all have participated in the webinar or who all have registered, I can simply go here. I think I put it as a. Let's see. Yeah, these are the people who registered. 29 people had registered for the webinar actually. So yeah, good that all of you participated. So now this gives data. So you can conduct the events for your organization. And the system that we use today is a system that we give you also. So simply you can see, okay, this gives you who all have attended for the registered for the webinar. So let me see what are the comments the people have given. It would be helpful. Okay. So testing again. So this was the one thing, it would be helpful. Yeah. So again, you can take a lot of these reports in Excel format, the or PDF. So I simply click on PDF. Now the PDF is generated. I should be able to see. Yeah. So we try to make your job as simple as possible.